Hey, welcome back to Building Dad Bod 2.0. Day 35 of the cut. Shoulder was feeling pretty good today, so I did a little bit of banded mobility and then jumped straight into slingshot bench press. A couple warm-up sets and then hit a double at 264 pounds. Next up, hitting a single at 286 pounds. Current body weight is 184.7, started at 196. So there we go, first attempt at 308. So the slingshot is completely an experiment. Like, dude just keeps getting more braces now. He's got the elbow sleeves on. I'm not insanely worried about the bench during the cut. I'm just trying to see the little experiment with the slingshot here to see if it'll translate to a bigger bench come fall. So basically what I'm saying there, obviously I'm hoping the bench press will go up. But I was dealing with this left shoulder injury the last couple of months of training before I went for my 1 rep max, my 1,100 pound total. So what I'm finding with the slingshot, feels better on my shoulder doing low reps with the slingshot than it does hitting a ton of volume without it. And I've talked to a few really strong people that swear by the slingshot that it was really beneficial for them. So although it's a bit of an experiment, I think, if it allows me to keep benching through this shoulder injury as it heals up and allows me to push heavier and heavier weights through the cut, then I don't really see it as being a negative. If you remember last week, I was struggling at 302.5, so I put on the elbow sleeves this week. Nothing was moving super fast, but I managed to hit all 6 reps at 308. After that, we moved on to block press. So 264 the other day on Wednesday was the first time I'd done block press in a while. It was a struggle. I managed to grind out a few sets of 3, but not an easy 3. So this week, my goal was just to get more reps than on Wednesday. So there you go. First set, I got 4 reps. Second set, I got 4 reps. And then here on that third set, I knew I could just go till I gassed out. So went for 1 extra, managed to hit 5 reps here. And you'll see here, the 5th rep was a little bit of a grind, but that's why I saved it to the 3rd set. Didn't want to load my other 3 sets after that. Then we go to the ring dips. So started with the weight vest, 55-pound weight vest. Goal was just to get somewhere between 3 and 5 reps if possible. So managed to hit a set of 3 and then a nice slow negative on the 4th rep. After that, I decided to go for ring dips. So instead of doing the higher rep slingshot bench press today, decided just to do ring dips. So this was my 3rd set, 13 reps on the first 2 and managed to get 12 reps on the 3rd set here. I think these will transfer over better to my 200-pound dip that I want to attempt. And right now they feel way better on my shoulder than bench press does. So I'll find out eventually how these carry over to bench press. I have no idea yet, but love ring dips. After that, weighted McGill pull-ups or weighted speed pull-ups. This is my last week, 16 sets of 2 with 20 pounds. Actually only did the first 14 sets with 20 pounds, and then I went up to 25 pounds for the last 2 sets of 2, just to get acclimated to the weight for next week when we start back over at 6 sets of 2 with 25 pounds. So far, this was my best week overall in terms of how my bicep tendon felt, my radial brachialis felt, and how my shoulder felt, all on the left side. I had no real pain at all doing pull-ups. Was able to pull reasonably hard. I know we still got more speed in here yet. Haven't hit that next gear, but the good news is every weight I've been doing, by the time I get to doing 16 sets of 2, the weight feels a lot easier than it did when I started off at 6 sets of 2. So body's acclimating back to these. Got a long way to go before we get back up to doing over 80 pounds on pull-ups. I'm just going to keep pounding away 5 pounds at a time. I'm in no rush on these. I want to be this winter back to doing full-on speed pull-ups with heavy weights again. But this time I want to make sure 100% that the ligaments and tendons are totally ready for it. Last time I obviously was up to 80 pounds plus too fast because I ended up just destroying this radial brachialis. That was like 18 months ago and I'm still feeling the effects of it on a lot of exercises. So don't want to repeat that. And I love doing weighted pull-ups, one of my all-time favorite exercises. So I just don't like when I can't do them, having them taken away from me when it's my own kind of. I didn't see it coming last time when I think I got a partial tear of this tendon. But But it was just, I had to stop doing pull-ups altogether for an extended period of time, which is, when it's something you love to train, you definitely don't want to have that taken away from you if you can help it. So just going to be smart, train the right way, and be completely prepared. So these are the ones here with 25 pounds, the last couple sets here. And then we go to body weight just to check the speed, see how everything's feeling body weight wise. So definitely getting a little bit faster. Here we went pronated grip. And this is the only time right here where I felt a little bit of my radial brachialis. Still not ready for the pronated grip. So I just keep hammering away on neutral grip. After that, we're hitting some high cable rows. So this is basically the exact counter movement of bench press, only with a neutral grip. Hit a couple sets of 25 here. I'm going to have to up the weight next week. It was a bit too light. Not that I'm opposed to high reps, but we'll just keep adding a bit of weight every week. And more weight, a little bit less reps every week. Just like the big compound lifts, getting some progressive overload. Look to get a little bit stronger on these every single week. After that, I hit a bit of a shoulder circuit. So I haven't been doing dumbbells because of this radial brachialis, but decided to try it with 20 pounds. This is one of my all-time favorite shoulder supersets. I used to do them drop sets, starting with like 35 pounds, working down to about 15 on rear delts, and then I would start right back over at 35 pounds on side delts, work my way down to 15, and then same thing on front raises. This is 20 pounds is all I can do with this radial brachialis right now, but I want to start building the tolerance back up on these. I got to start making it work again, but not overdo it. If you watch the channel a lot, you see me doing these a lot on the cable machine with cuffs around my wrists, so takes the weight out of my hands and makes it way easier on my forearm. I always prioritize the rear delts on these, so I start with the rear delts, move on to the side delts, and then finish off doing some reps for the front delts with some front raises. So I'll show you a couple front raises, and then we're going to move on to an ab roller progression that I got in here specifically for John Imperial. He said he wanted to be able to do standing ab rollers, so I'm going to show a progression on the rings, how to get there. I know John's got some gymnastics rings, so there's another way you can do it with an ab roller, and you take a 2x6 plank and make a ramp, and you just keep lowering the ramp every week until you're doing them from the floor. But rings work super awesome. So let's jump to the rings. So set them at a height that you can comfortably do the ab roller with, like mimic the ab roller with. So as high as you need to, obviously the higher it is, the easier the exercise. And then what you do is just keep lowering the rings. I would go at a certain height until you can get about 10 reps, then drop it down a couple inches, start over again, go till you can get about 10 reps, and just keep doing that until you're doing them off the floor. So you'll see here now I'm doing them from just off the floor, starting, the rings are starting about an inch off the floor, going to full extension, and back out. Now, as you go, obviously the rings come up a little bit. Then once you get as low as you can't go any lower, then that's when you add in the ab roller. At that point, I can guarantee you'll be able to at least get a few reps with the ab roller, and then you can build up from there. The good news is you get a great stimulus with the rings as well. You don't even really have to go to the ab roller if you don't have one. The rings will work your core extremely well. Then with my actual core work for the day, I'm trying to add in at least one core exercise at the end of every workout. So I'm holding a 50-pound slam ball on my chest and a 30-pound slam ball between my legs, and just repping out as many crunches as I can with the leg raises in at the same time. When I was younger, I actually used to do V sit-ups like this. Not with this heavy, but I think with like a 15-pound and a 12-pound slam ball, one between my feet and one in my hands, and I used to come up and touch them together. Can't even come close to doing that. I don't even think I can do a V sit-up now. That's it for the workout. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.